Well, I guess the video is not going to play, so we'll go ahead and just start. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Geeks and Noobs. Everything's having all kinds of fun times right now. StreamYard is saying I don't have internet, even though I have tons of internet. Oh, video's playing. Fun times. Fun times. Gotta love technology.
Fun times.
Oh, yeah.
But, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the Geeks and Noobs podcast. I'm your host, Super Beard Vince Hoover, joined as always by my co-host, Kel McCosplay, and the Ginger Ninja Jaxpo down below. We have a very, very fun episode for you today. But before we get started, make sure you remember to hit !Mecca in the chat because this is a sponsored stream. Our sponsor is Mech Arena. It's a free-to-play game on both PC and mobile. It's a 5v5 mech battle royale. It's like kind of like Fortnite or Overwatch. There's a bit of capture flag. There's also death matches. You can upgrade all your mechs and have really cool weapons and looks and designs, the whole nine. And if you use our link, you get an epic legendary skin for your first mech. You get 70,000 credits and you get 500 A coins. The A coins are super cool because you can upgrade your weapons, your mechs, the whole nine. So do that today. We need you to get to Area Division 9. Area Division 9 is their level 2. So you just need 400 experience points in that part to get there. Should take you no more than an hour of fun playtime. But after that hour, I'm sure you'll be addicted because it is a lot of fun. So once again, !
It is a whole lot of fun. I've been playing it the last couple of days, and I've just been having a great time with it.
Yeah, it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. That will be ending tomorrow. Normally it'll go till Sunday, but we're ending that one a little bit early because right after we get off the air from a very special episode of Friday Night Fight Night tomorrow night, we'll be adding a new sponsor to the channel. And they're going to sponsor us through WrestleMania weekend and all the week following. And I can't tell you anything more about that than that, but it is a really cool sponsor, and I'm super excited for that. I will
Yeah, when you
say
texted me last night and
Yeah.
told me who it was, my mind blew. I was like, wow.
I will say
peed
this.
myself.
I didn't think
Yeah, I know.
that we could have a sponsor this cool.
Yeah, this one's pretty badass. I will
Yeah.
say I happened to be reminded of said sponsor when I went to the movies today.
I was also reminded.
Yes, so that was pretty
today.
cool.
Yeah.
But speaking of the movies, we are here to talk John Wick 4 and the John Wick franchise as a whole. So for the first 10, 15 minutes of the episode, we will try to be spoiler free. But if you've ever seen us try to talk about a movie, you know how that goes. It never goes well. So warning right now, there will be spoilers in this episode for John Wick 4. So if you have not seen it yet, it came out last weekend. But if you have not seen it yet, you have been warned. Full disclosure, Kel has not been able to see it, but Kel is okay with spoilers. He just loves these movies and wants to talk about them as a whole. So he is okay with spoilers.
Because regardless, if I know what's going to happen, I'm still going to go into this movie. I'm still going to enjoy it and love it. Because what's not to love about these quadrilogy of films thus far?
Yeah, going all the way back to the first John Wick. That movie was made by that one was directed by two people. It was written and directed by two people. Since then, it's just been Chad Stahelski who has been doing the directing. But they were stunt guys. Now, they were career-long stunt guys with decades of experience as stuntmen, but they were stunt guys. But they thought that they could tell a story and start their own production company. And the first John Wick movie was meant to be just a one-movie story.
And it could have been.
Yeah, it was written in a way that it was just an encapsulated one story moment. I don't think even they expected to happen what none of us expected to happen, but what has happened is a very fleshed out and very comprehensive universe built around John Wick and the universe he lives in. It's set in the real world. Like a lot of it takes like the first one takes place all in New York City. But between like the high table and the Continental and the coins and everything they do, they ended up being able to create a world. And it was one of those things that when the movie was so popular, you obviously knew they were going to be pushed to make a sequel. They didn't half-ass it. They sat down, they fleshed out the world, and they fleshed out a plan. That plan comes to fruition in John Wick 4. But what we get in the first film is a whole new reinvigoration of the action genre in films. And the fact that Keanu Reeves is at the forefront of that once again. I mean, he was an action star. You know, you think Speed, Point Break, etc. Gets kind of blacklisted from Hollywood for a while because he refuses to do Speed 2 and the studio blacklists him for a bit. He goes on to make The Matrix, which revolutionized action films completely. There isn't an action film that hasn't mimicked The Matrix since it came out. But then he does it again with John Wick, and now every action film out there is mimicking John Wick. And I would like to say that John Woo films walked so that John Wick can run, but everything is copying John Wick now. What do you guys think about the fact that Keanu Reeves has once again revolutionized the action genre and everything is biting off the John Wick franchise?
Well, going back to where he didn't want to do Speed 2, that was the smartest decision he could have made.
That is true. That movie is absolutely horrible.
It wouldn't. Do you think it would have been the same movie if Keanu had signed back on instead of Sandra Bullock?
It would have been a little bit better, and I bet you he actually would have had more creative control.
No, I mean story-wise. Do you think it would have been the same story of him on the boat on a cruise ship?
No, it would have been the two of them. It would have been the two of them. It would have been he probably. I think he would have. Hey, the cruise ship idea is stupid. Can we do something else? Yeah. But even if he was like, they're like, no, we're doing the cruise ship. You got to do this film. I still think the film probably would have ended up being better. Because for one, you didn't care about the new lead. You didn't care at all. Nope. Like, you're like, where's Keanu? Where's Keanu's character? Like, that's who she's supposed to be with. Like, what's going on? But yeah, that movie was all kinds of hot garbage. I mean, how do you have an action movie and then it's Speed 2 cruise control? Like, that just tells you, it's like, oh, they're just cruising along. Like, it's like, I use cruise control on the interstate so as not to speed. Yeah. Like, nothing about that title to me says action film. It says road trip.
What an irony, though. You said that. A device that you use not to speed is the name of the Speed sequel.
Yeah. And also, if the bus had cruise control, there wouldn't have been a problem either. They could have locked it in at like 57 miles an hour and been fine.
Yeah.
We're not going to break down.
No, we're not breaking down. We're not movie, No, we're not.
We can break that one down. They fucked up a lot of things.
No.
But yeah, going back to the question that was asked. No, it was just amazing that Keanu picked his roles and made him a better actor for it. Because instead of getting stuck in that cliche, you've had your successful film, now you do the sequel. It probably won't do as well. And then just went from mindless action flick to mindless action flick. That one of the things that Keanu, I think, has stayed consistent with is that he picks good stories in scripts.
I think so.
I mean, I liked it. I've been a Keanu Reeves fan since Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted's what did it for me.
And yeah, Bill and Ted hooked me. And I saw, because I was young with Bill, because I'm the youngest one here, is no secret. But I got my Bill and Ted from a pizza. Like, we ordered a pizza one night. We got a free DVD with it. It just happened to be Bill and Ted.
Nice.
So that was the first time I watched it. And I was like, And then like the Matrix comes out, and I was a kid. It just caught me at like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The way they were able to, the CGI, and the way they've had the bullets running past you. So, and then like you say, how other movies have taken from that. One movie that I think took liberty with the Matrix was Wanted. Wanted
sure.
wrote the coattails of the Matrix through that whole movie, how they were able to sling bullets and stuff. That's nothing but you could have changed that to Matrix something and been a side
Well,
story.
Wanted is actually a comic book movie. It's based on a comic book, but that comic book was written after the first Matrix film and took heavy inspiration from that. Which, by the way, upon a rewatch decades later, Matrix 2 and 3 are not as bad as I remember them being.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not really.
Like, they're actually, like, they're much better stories than I thought. And I am one of the few people on this planet that actually loved Matrix Resurrection. The one that just came out.
Wrong. You are wrong. And I can finally say Super Beard is wrong because I love that fucking movie.
I said one of the few people on the planet that love that movie.
I count as more than a few. I'm fat.
You count as two. That's less than a few. That movie got critically panned. A lot of people said it was terrible. And I'm like, what do you like? It was great. I love that movie, and I thought it did justice to everything. And I think part of it was that it made it seem like Neo wasn't the one because there was more. It was more than just him. But what people fail to realize in that is that the reason that Carrie-Anne Moss's character Trinity is so important is because she was the one who got him to break from the pattern of the one going back into the source right away. Because technically, the Matrix should have ended in part 2 of the films. He was supposed to, when he met the architect, agree to go back to the source and start the cycle over again. But he broke that cycle for love, for Trinity. Love being far more powerful than any algorithm could ever be. And that's why she was so important, and that's why she was also the one, because she was just as much a part of that love as he was. So that's why I like Matrix 4. But, so again, some people went into John Wick 4 with the slight concern of, did they go too far? But let's look at what Keanu Reeves has picked as, like, one, I think Matrix Resurrection is great. Two, Bill and Ted Face the Music is phenomenal.
Awesome.
It is phenomenal.
I loved it. And can I just say this one thing? The woman that plays the Queen Elizabeth in that film is the same Queen Elizabeth that I have met, talked to in regular conversation many times at the Tennessee Renaissance Festival.
Nice.
I love that woman. We have interacted so many times. I even dressed up as the Doctor from Doctor Who. David Tennant's doctor. I wore my suit that I got married in. And we talked and we did a little skit for the people around us. And we had a great time.
That's pretty awesome. What I love about, like, first off, the director of Bill and Ted Face the Music is the same director as Galaxy Quest. So that tells you the pedigree right there.
Yeah.
But they did such a great job with casting, like, the kids. Like, their daughters are fucking them. It's just them as younger kids. They nailed that part of it. The whole story, it tied back to the other two films in great ways. Cameo, bringing back Death was awesome. It's just a very well done movie, and it was very enjoyable. My dad and I watched it the second it came out on whatever streaming service. Why my brain shut off?
What did HBO Max it did it?
Amazon
was it HBO?
Prime, maybe?
It might have been Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I think it was.
I remember watching it. I bought it off of YouTube the day it came out because that was during the pandemic and stuff.
Right.
I bought it on Amazon Prime. I think is what I did.
Yeah.
So, but my dad, like, the second it was available, we just sat down and watched it, and we're like, this is amazing. Like, this is so good. They do a great job of referencing George Carlin's Rufus. They do justice to all that. It's great. Keanu Reeves is really smart in what he does, and I don't think he would have made part 4 if he didn't agree with the story.
Yeah.
a basic breakdown of John Wick as a whole, is the franchise as a whole, is you have this hitman who is the hitman. He is the greatest assassin the world has ever seen. He is Baba Yaga, the boogeyman. He is a man who seems immortal because he's just that damn good that nobody else can get to him. But he's retired. He falls in love.
Killed 3 men with a pencil.
Yeah.
A fucking pencil.
He
And
retires.
he's the man you called and killed the
What up, my fellow DICKELODEONS?
Why did it not?
Ah,
say
you
it
didn't
this time?
because it's all capitals.
Oh, it's all cap. Okay. Welcome, Tommy. Yeah,
Tommy!
the I hate this. He's a hitman, but he wants out. It's one of those things where it's like when you're in, you're in. Like there's no getting out. But he does something. He does the impossible task to get out because he wants to retire and live with his wife. Unfortunately, his wife ends up coming down with a terminal cancer. We didn't go, Tommy. We had things come up. We couldn't make it to to MegaCon, unfortunately. So we were not able to go this weekend. It just wasn't going to work out. The timing was terrible. It being WrestleMania weekend and whatnot, it just wasn't going to work out. So we didn't go.
I have COVID.
Yeah. Long story, but don't worry about it.
I'll be fine.
Yeah. So he gets out, but his wife has terminal cancer and she passes away. And the movie, you meet John Wick immediately after losing his wife, but she has a final gift for him that she has delivered after she passed away, and it's a little puppy to keep him company because she knows that he cannot be alone. However, this all leads to a series of, for lack of a better term, a series of unfortunate events where one of the higher ups in the high table, the mob, whatever it is. What's going on, Jason? Their son is a pretentious prick who grew up rich and all, kind of typical, but also like has an extra ego because his dad could literally kill anybody that he wants killed. Like he's got that, like they're in that dirty, seedy part of the underworld. John Wick, of course, has this amazing car because he's obviously made a lot of money doing what he does. He's very well off. Has this really awesome car. The guy wants it. Keanu Reeves says no. That leads to him breaking into his house, stealing his car, beating him half to death, and then shooting his goddamn dog. You did it wrong, man. You got to use the lady. Oh, gotcha. Texas speed. I was like, what the fuck? You don't shoot somebody's dog.
Mm-mm.
But of course, he's like, this. It wasn't just any dog either. Like shooting a dog's bad enough, but this is the last kind of living remnant of his wife.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that leads him to basically getting back in the game. And he goes to town. He then goes, so that's the first movie. Rolling into the second movie, he's kind of wrapping it up, getting his car back, etc., etc., etc. Turns out he has a marker from somebody who wants to get their spot on the high table. And because he's back, they cash in on that marker. And, of course, it leads to him breaking these rules of this universe and leading to all kinds of craziness, which led to the third film where he's going all over the world now. He goes around the world a little bit in the second one, but now he's going out. He's going to the Middle East and literally going to the elder of the high table. Chaos ensues again, and finally he decides by this fourth film, I'm going to end the high table. I'm going to tear it all down. I can't say that he was 100. I can't say that he was 100%. 100%. We are how long in? We're 25 minutes in.
100% successful.
Yeah, he wasn't 100% successful in tearing down the entire high table. He does, however, make a big enough impact that changes will have to be made. I'll say that. But we are 25 minutes in, so spoilers. It's gonna happen. Before we get into spoilers, though, Kel, give me kind of your thoughts on the universe that is the John Wick universe, the Continental, the High Table, all of that.
Oh, I was fascinated by the world he was in the first film, where excuse me. But yeah, it's like I've mentioned before on the show that I got into John Wick late. I didn't watch the first film until the third film was ready to come out, and I've had a lot of people tell me, you need to watch it, you need to watch it, you need to watch it. And for whatever reason, I didn't. Shame on me, I know. But then we had some friends, we were hanging out with them, and said, hey, John Wick's on, when you guys want to watch that? I was like, yeah, I've heard some all right things about it. And then I watched it, and I was like, holy hell. This is one of the greatest action movies I've ever seen in my life. And so, right after that, it's like, you want to watch the second one? I was like, hell yeah, I do. But it was just the world that he was in that, I love the story of the first one, but I was more fascinated by what was going on, the people he was interacting with, going to the Continental, and everybody knows him. It's like their own little secret society almost, in a way.
Yeah.
And I was really intrigued by that. And then in the second one, they just expanded a little bit more. And then they expanded it even more in the third film. And it was just so inclusive. It was like, wow, how deep does this thing go?
Yeah, I really, really love the universe. It's got a very analog feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's kind of almost old school. Like, everybody, like there's operators, and they're literally, it's switchboards and shit,
Yeah.
and telegrams and fucking fax machines. Is like, and people have like flip phones, like, and it's very like old school and retro. Everybody's like, all the women are in the operating board. They're all dressed up as pinup, like almost like kind of like 20s pinups.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if I want to go 20s, but like 40s and 50s
Maybe
pinups.
40s, yeah.
Like Marilyn Monroe,
40s, 50s.
kind of, but they're also all tatted out.
Give that modern.
Can I just say that those girls were sexy in those pinup suits?
Yeah, they look great.
Come on.
You got some amazing stuff. Like, you find out about the Continental. So there's a Continental in each major city. It's a hotel. It's a safe haven. It's a safe haven for these people, because no
business allowed on
no
Continental
business allowed on the
grounds.
Continental grounds. The late great Lance Riddick, who we just recently lost,
I
is
was so sad
phenomenal
when
as the
I seen that.
concierge. Full spoiler right now: his character dies in the movie as well in part 4, and they give him a very a very fitting tribute scene. However, this film was obviously filmed and done before he passed.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it was one of those things like, oh, that kind of worked out. Like, that was very fitting. But again, it's all kind of very retro. I made sure on my first trip to New York, I went to the Flatiron Building, which is the outside of the Continental. I took a picture. Then I went to Delmonico's, which is the inside of the Continental. So to me, all the John Wick series feels like a video game. I can understand where you're coming from, but I actually feel that does like a disservice to the series. I think it kind of transcends even that. Like, I feel like,
Yeah.
I don't think you could pull off the John Wick movies as a game. I don't think you could create a game that would be fitting enough for the John Wick series.
Be able to have that fast of reactions with the trigger and stuff. It'd be nearly impossible to make that.
You just
video
would
game.
not. You would not be able to do it justice as a video game, and again, all built off a movie that was supposed to be a one shot. Like, there wasn't supposed to be all this, but they had put just enough backstory behind it to make it interesting, and interesting enough that people were like, I want to know more about not just John Wick, but the whole universe. Again, the Continental, like I said, I went and had a beer at the Delmonico's bar, which is the interior where they shoot the Continental bar scene. Took a picture at the Flatiron, which is the outside, which in this film, it gets crazy in the beginning. And it actually had me really like, so before I tell you what I'm talking about, it had me very much thrown very early in the movie because they are working actively on building a Amazon Prime television series called The Continental that will explore the inner workings of the Continental, not just New York, but all the other ones. And Keanu Reeves is supposed to make appearances here and there in that as John Wick. Now, having seen the whole movie, I now know it will be kind of a prequel situation. But what threw me off is that we get another step above what was that character called? The character in the third one that basically deconsecrates the Continental, and then he turns on John at the end to get the hotel back. The adjudicator. So we meet somebody that's a step above the... Well, actually, we meet two people. One who's a step above the adjudicator and one who's a step above this person's step above. Clancy Brown is the harbinger. We get fucking Clancy Brown in this movie. Are you kidding me? Kurgan from Highlander, Sorter from Thor, Ragnarok, voice actor extraordinaire Clancy Brown is in this film. And as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, I love him so much. So Bill Skarsgård plays kind of the main villain in this fourth one. He is the Marquis. And he, even though the manager of the Continental had turned on John Wick at the end of part 3, he felt he hadn't done enough because John Wick was still alive, even though he shot him and he fell off a building. He was still alive. So they deconsecrated the Continental again. But this time they blew it the fuck up.
Oh shit!
Like we're talking level by level. Boom,
Yeah,
boom, 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 boom.
I was
Imploded that bitch.
You mean like in Independence Day when the...
Yeah, maybe not so. Like the outer structure, they did it in a way that the outer structure of the building was still there. AJ Hoover has liked to stream on Facebook. Thank you, AJ.
Thank you,
Thanks, buddy.
The building outside structure was still there, like it was intact, but yeah, every floor was destroyed.
Wow.
And it was just like it was such like, oh my god. And if that doesn't scream we're in the finale, I don't know what does. When that building, like watching the Flatiron building get exploded floor by floor, and like I said, having been there, having seen that, also the balls on them to do that scene in New York City.
Big cojones.
Yeah, like I understand that we are over 2 decades removed from 9/11, but of course, never forget.
Mucho huevos.
The Flatiron building, by the way, is in the financial district. The financial district is where the World Trade Center was, and where the Freedom Tower is now. The Flatiron building is not far from there. It is a couple. It is a couple of blocks. It is not. It is very much walking distance. I walked from the Continental, the Flatiron building, to the Freedom Tower. That was my next stop. They are within walking distance. And I'm not talking New York walking distance where you walk 30 fucking blocks. It's fucking a couple of blocks away. So the balls on them to do that was pretty impressive. But, like, that world exists out... Oh, yeah, very much so. And like I said, the building was completely intact. It was just every floor was destroyed. Internally. And the windows were blown out. But the building was still there. But also, it was, like, what we find out throughout all 4 films... That world exists outside of our world, like the normal world. Cops don't ever get involved. We saw that, like the one cop that came to his door knew who he was.
Yeah,
it's like, hey,
in the very first film,
are you back working? No, cool, whatever. Like they just like people in clubs are in the middle of gun fu fights, which that's what it's gun fu,
Yeah.
which is the best way to describe it. And they're just still dancing. They're like, this is normal. Everything's chill. I'm not a target, so I'm fine. Like it's just like they're just like whatever. The cop. You never. When do you ever see cops? I think maybe. No, I can't even. Like I don't remember any time that you ever see like sirens on, cops going after anybody. So they live in their own world. So even this explosion, like they, by waiting until the fourth film and establishing this universe where they are outside of that, and the regular world, the regular people, don't even know it exists. And like the scene where they come back to the Continental and they've got it roped off by police tape, but there's nobody around. It is the most empty you will ever see New York. Like nobody's paying attention to this building. So it's very much like they did their work to build
invincibility.
Yeah, like they built the universe in such a way that they weren't stepping on like they weren't bringing back bad memories by doing this. You know what I mean? So that you have to give them a lot of credit for too. But this is
Can
why
I give them credit for one thing though?
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter how many clubs this man goes in and shoots up, I gotta give props to the clubbies because they never stop dancing.
And the DJ. The DJ never stops.
DJ never stops spinning. He's just like, yeah, people dying. It's cool. Yeah, just spin it some more. Shake the booty on the dead guy.
So we kind of get to see.
Fascinates me.
A lot of the theme, like each film has its own theme. Like part 3 was like the first one's obviously it's revenge and the loss of a loved one. The second one is about, is it worth paying back, your dues if it's unethical? You know what I mean? Like, and then the third one was truly about choice. This fourth one is really about life and death. And as they say multiple times in the film, consequences. We're introduced to a few new characters. I got to look this actor's name up again. Now,
what are the new characters weird? Did you feel like he was just like he was in place, but could have been out of place at the same time?
A little bit, yeah. So we get Donnie Yen. You might know him from Rogue One, Star Wars Rogue One. He was the blind Jedi. He's Ip Man in that series, which is
a blind dude in this movie.
And he's again a blind person in this film, but he's a badass. I love him so much. He's actually he's a dear old friend of John, but he has now been assigned to kill John. But he's retired too. Like he kind of had the same situation. But for him, instead of it being a wife, it's his daughter he's trying to protect. But similar to Halle Berry's character in part 3, where in order to protect her daughter, she can never see her again. Same with him. He's not allowed within so many feet of her, this and that. And like he has to like stay away from her. That keeps her safe. And the Marquis uses that. Yeah, the Marquis uses that as leverage to be like, here's the name I'm giving you. He's retired, but he's kind of like a freelance contract worker where like they give him a name and he goes and takes care of it. But the deal was recently like he's like, I'm done. Like the deal was my daughter's protected. I don't go near her. I'm done. He's like, yeah, well you're not. Here's a new name, and it's John Wick. We also get the Continental, I think in Bangkok, and Hiroyuki Sanada. Most recently, a lot of people might know him. He played Scorpion in the new Mortal Kombat movie.
The only good thing about that film.
Yeah. I actually didn't think it was that bad. I didn't necessarily like
I
don't think it was that bad.
Sure, Mortal Kombat.
I don't think it was that bad. But it's not like I think the introduction of a new character was kind of weird, and that's what throws it off for a lot of people. But I don't think it's that bad. But he is the manager of the Continental in Bangkok, who's basically doing what the manager from the New York Continental, who's played by Ian McShane, the phenomenal Ian McShane, he's basically like allowing the excommunicado John Wick to be there, like because it's again dear old friend, and that's where like he's trying to convince his daughter, hey, who's his concierge is his daughter Akira. Look, I understand what I bring upon this hotel by having him here, but that doesn't matter because he is a friend, and this is what friends do. Unfortunately, Donnie Yen does end up killing him. He doesn't want to. He makes it very clear, I don't want to do this, but Shinada's character refuses to stop. And he's just like, just tell me where he is and I'll go. I don't want to do it because it's all they're friends. It's again, there's a deep friendship, and we see that even in the first film. There's so much love for John Wick, and he has like connections everywhere, and everybody loves him. Then we see it in somewhat in part 2, but really in part 3, like the doctor when he's excommunicado, the doctor's trying really hard to like take care of him right up until that hour of grace time, and he's like, you have to shoot me, you have to make it look like you forced me to do this. Because they're gonna know I gave you the pills after the hour. They want to take care of John because even though he is again an assassin, he's also actually a really good person. As weird as that sounds, like it's so weird. It's like you look at the Punisher as an example. Frank Castle's not a good person.
No, but not just no.
But he also tells you that he's like, I'm not a good person. But I'm going to, I am so jaded that I'm not a good person. But at the same time, you get moments like in Civil War, the comic book series, where Punisher goes to join Captain America and the people on his side, and there's two villains who are like, hey, look, Cap, we know we're villains, but we give up. We want to join you. We want to turn tail. And Punisher just shoots him in the face. Because they're bad guys.
Yeah.
Then Cap proceeds to beat the ever-loving shit out of him, but Frank refuses to even touch Captain America. Why? Because Captain America is good. So he has a line. So does John Wick. But John Wick is actually a good person. Jason says that the new character from the Mortal Kombat movie is said to be in the new Mortal Kombat game, which I mean that's fine, but the game should have come out first. You should have introduced him in the game first.
Yeah,
that's all.
If you're gonna rendition I'll go on my little tyrant about this because the one negative I do have about that. If you're gonna introduce a new character into a video game franchise, introduce him into the video game portion of it first, then to a movie.
Absolutely,
agreed.
That was Bo's TED Talk thing.
Because our main character in the film is someone we don't know, with characters we've known for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to like this guy?
Yeah, just because he's a descendant of Scorpion, we're supposed to like him. I don't. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That was my issue with it, and you didn't have any time to flesh him out as a character in the movie either. Had he been fleshed out in the game, you would have known whether we liked him or not, and we would have been fine with it. So, but regardless. John Wick is inherently good. He's chaotic good. Like, there's no denying that.
Absolutely.
But he's inherently a good person. Like, there's never a time you watch him in any of these films that you're not rooting for him. They are not like, yes, you're right, they're wrong. You never once disagree with anything he does, except for like I would say in the third film when he decides to go back under the high table, cuts his finger off, all that stuff. You're kind of like, John, don't do that. But he very quickly comes back around. Like, he just had a moment of weakness, showing he's also human, by the way. Which that's how the film...
I was just about to bring that up. That shows that, everybody makes those choices doing what you think is right at the time, but it end up being wrong in the long term. So John is very relatable. I mean, he got out of the business he was great at and made a fortune in for love. And many people have done that. Mm-hmm. And then you lose that person, something sets you off, he goes back to work. His work just happens to be killing people for a living.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a perfect real life example is Rick Moranis.
Yeah. Oh,
Moranis was
absolutely. Yes.
a
Yes.
great
100% agree.
a great actor. His wife becomes ill, quits the business altogether to take care of his wife and his kids. And now that his kids are full-grown adults, he started to dip his toe back into business because even like John Wick, you're never really out.
Right.
But yes, unlike
Something
Rick Moranis, who's an
will pull you back
actor, John Wick is a natural-born killer.
Yeah.
But I love, like, we get a ton of backstory without getting a ton of backstory in the John Wick 2. We know he's an orphan. He was taken up by the Russian family portion of this. Oh, that's who I wanted to look up. I cannot, for the life of me, remember. Yeah, Natalia Tina. She is the new head of the Russian part of things. And I'm trying to remember what like we might know her from. Oh, okay. She plays that's what I thought. She plays Tonks in the Harry Potter movies.
Okay.
Lupin's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's Lupin's wife. And she's the one who can, like, you know, change her hair color when she gets mad and all that stuff. Yeah, that one.
She has mood hair.
Yeah. I was like, I know I recognize her from somewhere, and I couldn't place it, and then, like, that's what it was. So, but as we knew, his ticket got torn in the third one. Like, he's really out. He's really out in this film. But the film starts with him going back to the high table in the Middle East. There's a new elder there, because the other one, I guess, they don't really explain what happened to the other elder. It really was just a recasting kind of thing where they couldn't get the same actor back. But they just basically, like, kind of pass it off as, like, well, I'm the new elder now. Your ring is gone. Like, he's like, I want my ring, and I'm here to kill you. He's like, well, your ring is gone. He's like, yeah, I figured. And he's like, but if you kill me, they'll just replace me again. That's kind of the theme of the whole thing.
Right.
That's the theme of the whole movie. You'll never truly get rid of the high table because they'll just replace everybody you kill. Because that's not the answer to doing it. And by the end of the film, what he has done is that, yes, he does kill the guy that he wants to kill, but he also makes the high table look weak, in a sense. Like, he shows the flaws in it. He shows the cracks in it, and shows that not everybody, like, you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be the way it is. You don't have to be slaves to the high table. People can have lives. The high table was a very interesting... And by the way, the high table was developed solely off the getting paid, like the comment getting paid under the table.
Yeah.
And they took this cliche phrase and morphed it into an actual... Because everybody's under the table of the high table. Like, and it was just like... Again, brilliance in the nuance of it all. And that's crazy to me. And how well these guys were able to create this universe. Chad Stilinski has gone on to do... He's got a whole career as a director now. Because what else has he directed? Let me look him up. Because I know he's done other stuff and my brain is just not working today. He's still listed as American Stuntman, but he's a director now. Like, he is a full-on director. He did a movie... He was the one who directed Matrix Resurrections. So I gotta give him that. Oh, he's gonna be directing the new Highlander film with Henry Cavill.
Ooh.
That'd be nice.
That's gonna be good, I think.
I agree. I'm a big fan. I'm trying to get to, like, his IMDb here for director. Okay, director. He has 15 directing credits already.
Oh,
One of
wow.
them is, again, Highlander's coming up. They're making a movie about the video game Ghost of Tsushima. And he's directing that.
Never
That's
played it.
going to be amazing. I'm super excited for that. That's going to be
I like
so
video
cool.
game movies.
Holy crap, he has 1, 2... Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 films in pre-production or development. 11.
Damn.
One of them is
He's got a
also
full
Rainbow
plate.
Six. He's got 2 video game movies because Rainbow Six is one he's doing.
I've played that game before.
Yeah.
He's got 11 movies. Wow. Of course, you know his stunt history is insane. He was a stunt coordinator on Deadpool 2, The Hunger Games, Red 2, The Wolverine, After Earth, Man of Tai Chi, Expendables 2, the original Hunger Games, the Sherlock Holmes movies, Spy Kids 4, Blitz, Mechanic, Tron Legacy, Iron Man 2, X-Men Origins Wolverine, Speed Racer, Jumper, Rambo, Balls of Fury, Live Free or Die Hard, 300, V for Vendetta, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Constantine, Spider-Man 2, Van Helsing's, all the Matrix movies, Kung Pao, Ghost of Mars, The World Is Not Enough, Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye, The Replacements, by the way, one of the greatest football movies of all time, Tomorrow Never Dies, Wild Wild West, 8mm, Almost Heroes, the last Chris Farley film, Alien Resurrection. He was a stunt coordinator for Orgasmo. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. That is by the
Creators of South Park.
Yeah, it's
Trey Parker.
And Matt Stone.
Yeah.
Very funny movie. And that's what led to Book of Mormon. Because the character Orgasmo is a Mormon who falls into this thing. Good Lord, he was a stunt double for Brandon Lee. He was a stunt double for Brandon Lee in The Crow. Like his career goes.
Now, is he the double that finished some of the? He's not the one that stood in for him. Because a couple of the scenes in the movie are
Mark DeCastis.
It's very few.
Mark DeCastis stood in for him as the actual stand-in.
Okay.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah. He was doing stunts for Escape from L.A., the live-action Fist of the North Star, which if anybody ever saw that, don't.
Yeah, sorry for that. You should get your money back.
But he started in 1993. And now he's moved on to directing. He's still doing stunts as well. The fact that he has 11 projects. 11. Jesus.
It's a busy man.
Next 10 years.
Yeah. I'm trying to see who the other director was. David Leitch. That was the other director for the first one. But again, you go back and look at these and what they were able to do with this series is absolute insanity. Built off what was supposed to be a one-shot. Now, how many times do we see a one-shot movie that is so popular, like we have to make a sequel? Then they make the sequel, and it's utter shit.
Oh, hundreds of times.
Name a movie. Let's start with the Crow series.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where
every
you
every
had a fantastic movie,
Mm-hmm.
and then you shit on it. You shit on that shit. Then you shit on that shit. Then you shit on it.
You want to know another one? Predator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First Predator was amazing. I actually enjoy the second one, but that's because I saw that one first before seeing the original. But it's not a great movie if you really go back and look at it. It's not a great film. And every Predator sequel since, except for this one that just came out.
Oh, Prey was good.
Yeah,
Prey
was great.
Is phenomenal. But every other one, and you know what? The Adrian Brody Predators film is pretty decent too. But like they all loosely connect to some points where there's some like it is continuity, it's not continuity, etc., etc. And there are films that like the Terminator series and Aliens. Like obviously the second one is the best. The sequel is actually the best film in the franchise. But everything after the sequel is just shit. Now, Pirates of the Caribbean, that was actually designed not to be a one-shot. That was they had planned franchise from day one with that.
Yeah, it's like when George Lucas pitched Star Wars, he already had plans for the trilogy.
Yeah.
It's just the New Hope needed to make money just so that they could.
You know what was a great movie that they shitted on immediately? It was the Fast series. Fast and the Furious, I thought was it could have been a one and done great movie. Yeah. They left it open for a part 2. They did do that, but they could have ended it the Dom Toretto rides off into the sunset, called a fucking day. But
Yep.
then you come out with the most CGI'd heavy race movie.
They have become the
It was
most ridiculous things.
ridiculous.
One we already talked about, and it just escaped my brain. Shit. Oh, Speed. Why did you make a sequel to Speed?
Yeah,
Why?
there was no reason.
Because the first one did so well.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, so, like,
Well, just because you can don't mean you should.
yeah.
I mean, you're
You know,
trying to
it's
catch
like-
lightning in a bottle twice.
I mean, I could even bring up where that line originates from, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I actually really enjoy Lost World, but I understand the
did too.
criticisms behind it. The third
Yeah.
one is shit.
But it's short.
Yeah,
It's the
ridiculously
shortest
short.
film in
And
all the franchise.
And then I understand they made Jurassic World with the intent of making sequels, unlike the first Jurassic Park, which was not. It was what it was. But that could have ended right there. Jurassic World
Yeah.
could have ended with just that first film. I think the last film, Final Dominion or whatever, I forgot whatever.
Yeah, Dominion, and the one before that was Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah. Dominion would be a fantastic film if they took out that stupid locust subplot. The giant Cretaceous locust subplot. If they just took that out, that film is gold. But there's so many
I still
times
haven't watched Dominion yet. I still haven't watched Dominion yet, just because I could
It's
not stand Fallen Kingdom. I thought it
It's
was just
you
so
don't need to go back and
muggy
watch
and
Fallen
just
Kingdom.
so bogged down with stupid plot.
Yeah, I would still recommend watching Dominion. It's free on Amazon now. But
I think it was free when it first came out.
no, it wasn't. Should have been. No,
it was. Yeah, but
I-
if
I-
it wasn't, it should have been.
I enjoyed that film, but there's a subplot in it where you're just like, why? This doesn't need to be here,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
really derails the film. But other than that, like seeing Ian Malcolm and Dr. Grant and Dr. Sadler back and done smartly, I think it's like, and that subplot is kind of to bring Sadler and Grant back into it, but there was plenty of other ways you could have done it. I still recommend watching it. It's not as convoluted as Fallen Kingdom. It's not. But that's like the point. Like that's the point I was making. This very long, convoluted workaround to get to my point. It's very scary when a film does really well when you don't intend on a franchise,
Mm-hmm.
because you can very easily screw it up. They didn't.
No, they did not.
John Wick is a classic, and yet every film gets better. And this last one does so much justice to the entire franchise, which, by the way, kudos to them. That movie is nearly 3 hours long. It's 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
When I told that to Ginger, he's like, I thought it was only an hour 45.
Yeah,
No.
it just flows so seamlessly.
It flows
together, like
so well.
the action scenes, and even with the Mr. Nobody, the tracker.
We'll
like,
talk about him in a minute.
It's he kind of sometimes like it's kind of like but he helps some of the scenes flow seamlessly together. Like you didn't need him to flow the scenes together, but he helps out a lot in them.
Yeah. There's also a definitive ending now. This franchise is done. They will do the spin-off series that will talk about the Continental, which will expand on the universe. The John Wick series is done. It's done. We're not getting a fifth movie. And I say that, full spoilers, John Wick dies.
Oh, wow.
But in
Not how you think.
no, not at all. Like it's more like it's almost like
Very
by
shocking.
by the end of the film, you're just like you see him finally go, I can retire, but his retirement is death, and it's just so well done. we hadn't even talked about the fact that we also got the reunion of Morpheus and Neo in this franchise with Lawrence Fishburne being the king of the
Yeah.
underground.
Well, wasn't he in the third one too?
Yeah, and he's in this one.
Okay.
He's in this one.
He's
So
full
we-
in this one.
Yeah, so we meet him
Nice.
in the second one.
That's right. It was the second one.
Yeah, we meet him in the second one. He gets punished for helping John in the second one. Kind of becomes John's only ally in the third one by the end of it, and then he's part of it. He bookends the fourth film. Opens and closes it. But I appreciate, like, although we kind of don't want it, you kind of do want it. You kind of do want John to just be at rest. And I'm very
Yeah, 'cause if
happy.
Anybody that deserves it, he
Yeah.
does. Holy shit!
I'm
with
very
everything-
happy. Because the thing is, if he had he got his he got so one of the rules of the high table is you can challenge another member of the high table to a single duel.
And
John
then you
Wick's-
sit down and play what looks like fucking
It's
tarot
they're-
cards.
well, they play high card. It's high card. So what happens is,
Yeah, high card.
and I don't really want to break that scene down too much, but what it is basically, okay, so we're gonna pick the stipulations for this. As the person who is challenged, what time do you want the duel to be? Sunrise. John, when do you want it? Right now. They flip cards. Whoever is the higher card, they are the one that won. The other guy won.
Interesting.
Okay, what's the weapon of choice? The challenger picks blades. John picks pistols. John's card was higher. Pistols wins. So that's how they set up the parameters of the duel. But he had to get him. He got himself back in with the Russian film.
I feel like I need to do this when me and my wife are trying to decide what's for dinner.
Do it.
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, play high
I'm
card.
going to.
I'm going to use it like if I ever get in a relationship again, which is highly unlikely because I'm not lovable. Oh, no. It's just, I don't know. I'm fucking 40. I'm 40. I'm too old to date. But like, if I was ever to get in a relationship, or you know what? Fuck it. When we're trying to decide what we're going to eat on this road trip to Houston, fucking high card, man. If we can't agree, which then
I'm
again,
a fat guy. You don't have to play high card with me. You just have to say food.
I'm pretty sure you and I are going to agree on what we're going to eat anyways. That's not going to be a problem. But if we have a situation, high card. I love the way it was done. Like that scene, I'm like, that's fucking, I want to do that for everything. That's
yes.
how you solve every problem from here on out. Anyways, he gets himself reinstituted to the Russian family. He becomes back, because they tore his ticket in the third one. So he was burned out of the family. He gets himself back in. So now he can challenges him. His stipulation is if I win, I'm free, clear, fully retired. I'm not excommunicado. I'm not a target. My contract goes away. Which, by the way, by the end of this film, his contract gets up to $40 million. It's an insane contract.
Yeah.
It's a
Also,
nice chunk of change.
his sponsor, the manager of the Continental, they rebuild his hotel. He's fully reinstated as well, and he gets his hotel back.
But if
course-
Wick loses,
If Wick loses, they both die. They both just get killed.
Yeah.
He gets his freedom, but you knew that no matter what, he was going to be a target. Since coming back, nobody was going to honor his retirement, and somebody was going to go after him. So him dying at the end, and by the way, you'll like as you see the movie and you start putting two together with everything he goes through physically in the film, you're like, yeah, no, that makes sense. It makes sense that he passed away. I feel like it's the best ending for him because that was his only true out. Like he was never gonna not be hunted. He was never gonna, and it doesn't need to go any further than this. 4 movies is enough.
Yeah.
I was really worried about this one. I really was because getting to a 4th film is kind of scary, and you could stretch yourself too thin. They don't. This movie's phenomenal, and I couldn't love it more. There's a fight scene like all the fight scenes are of course amazing. There's one where they're in this like abandoned house and they shoot it from above. So you're looking from like the ceiling the whole time as he's going from room to room and fighting people. Oh my god, that scene is phenomenal. And I have a feeling we're about to see a bunch of action movies take that. It's a moment I clear as day remember I remember watching it going, this is going to be copied for the next 10 years. It's just this
almost kind of like the way everybody tried to do the one-shot hallway scene after Daredevil did it.
Yeah, now we're getting all these hallway fight scenes and stuff because of that. And now, like this, it's basically like they just took the roof off, put a camera over it, and it's going around, and it's all shot from overhead. That scene. And
is it a continuous shot?
Yeah, and it's a continuous shot.
I'm about to say it has to be continuous. The way they shot it, there's no fucking chance that's not continuous. If that's a non-continuous shot, that is some of the best editing I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Absolutely insane. So there's a character we want to talk about, and this was, I guess, what I would consider the low point of the film. But that's like saying, it's like saying that you won the largest goldfish. Like, you still won a humongous fish. Like, it doesn't pull you out of the film. It's not so bad that you're like, ugh. But there was a character, he was a tracker. So he was a specific type of hitman who was a tracker. He also had this weird journal, which I never understood. I didn't understand the journal, and they don't really explain it, and so it's kind of a MacGuffin. But he goes by the name Mr. Nobody. He just says he's nobody. He has a dog, same kind of dog that Halle Berry's character has, and that's his emotional support animal. And it just so happens to be a weapon that he uses to hurt people and kill them. And they go for the nuts a lot in this film, by the way.
He says nuts a lot of time. I thought I said nuts. But he puts me to shame.
But that character felt like he does play a part in different parts where he helps out, and like it's hard to gauge exactly what side he's on for a lot of the film, and that's a good thing. But like if you also took that character out, it wouldn't affect the film in any way, if that makes any sense. Like, he's a character you could pull out and the film would have still been exceptional. So, yeah, that was a little weird. I gotta say, though, Bill Skarsgård has a bright fucking future in Hollywood. Bill Skarsgård played Pennywise in the new It movies. He's, of course, related to Alexander Skarsgård and Eric Skarsgård. That whole family is doing phenomenal things. But
Absolutely.
Bill has a very bright future in Hollywood. He is so... You hate him instantly, which is good.
Very good if you're the villain.
He's never over the top, and yet he's so menacing. But yet you also feel like he can't fight. Like, you don't see him as a physical threat. Like, this guy does not... He worked his way up bureaucratically. You're sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
But he still is menacing. He's still very menacing.
Okay.
Kind of like... You remember the Adjudicator in Part 3? She was very menacing, even though not at all physical. Kind of on that same grain. Kind of on that same grain. All in all, like...
Good movie!
Like, how... I think when it comes to... I know that people look at action films as not real cinema. I think the John Wick series should be studied in film school for the rest of time.
Yeah, if nothing else for a storytelling standpoint.
Exactly. I think that it should be studied in screenwriting classes, and it should be studied in film classes, like cinematography classes, and stunts. Like, I don't want to say the franchise is perfect, because it's not perfect, but it's as close as you're going to get, I think. I don't have anything to fault any of these films. Like I said, even with the tracker guy, like I said, you could pull him out and it wouldn't make that much of a difference to the story. He's still a good inclusion.
Yeah, like he helps tell the whole story collectively.
And Donnie Yen, like, you feel like you want to hate him because he is going after John, but you never can. Even after he kills the Bangkok manager of the Continental, and like the only thing is there is a bit of a thread left hanging in that the concierge of the Bangkok Continental, the daughter of the manager, Akira, had flat out told John, either you kill him or I will. And we never see her again. And Donnie Yen's character gets to walk away. So there is a slight thread there, but it's not. I honestly don't think it's that big a deal. I mean, they could make it part of the Continental series if they wanted to.
Probably.
They could. I feel like the Continental series will be a prequel, though, because they did say that Keanu Reeves would make appearances in it.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be more of a prequel style series, but all in all, it's hard to really pick. I'm really grasping at straws, trying to pick apart the movie and give it some kind of criticism, because it's exactly what you want in a cinema, like in a cinema experience. It was so cool to just sit there and watch this movie.
I mean, most of the time with action films, you have that stigma of its mindless action. I mean, this is an action movie that really develops a great story.
It is
Go ahead.
It's a character film with action scenes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way that you can put it.
Like, it is. Yes, the action is obviously really cool to see, and they do some of the greatest action scenes in this. Like, we get a variation of the hallway scene, but on stairs. Because it ends in Paris. They're in Paris at the end of the film. And there's that very famous, very long set of stairs leading up to the Sacred Heart Church. And we get a big battle on there. It had to be, 2 dozen, maybe even 3 dozen guys he goes through in that, Ginger?
At least 2.
At least 2, if not 3 dozen guys.
At least 2, and put 3 at a max, safe 2.
Yeah, but like so we get, it's kind of like a variation of the hallway scene, because it's in this probably 10-foot wide staircase. It's 222 steps. We actually got a little bit more out of the way that the kind of the universe works too, in that they also have their own radio network.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, interesting.
And so as they're trying to update the contract in real time, the radio DJs updated it, but doing it. So if you and I or Ginger were listening to the radio and we happen to get onto this station, we would have no idea they're talking about Hitman contracts, because they do it in like this very typical.
It's very coded.
Yeah, it's very coded.
Traffic is backed up.
Because there's that they're at the Arc de Triomphe, where that big circle of traffic in Paris is, and there's a big fight there, which is amazing. Everybody's getting hit by cars.
Yeah, this reminds me of something I saw on a history show not too long ago, where they said that the former police officer, he became a bootlegger in the 1920s, and they couldn't figure out how he was getting his liquor through and never get caught. And the police thought that he was using his wife, who was a very social. She was a socialite, and she started a radio program for children, and she never had any. When people would ask her, this is like, no, I don't want kids. But she started a children's radio program and would just read stories. And there were ones that she helped write. She had somebody else writing them with her. And then, but they could never break the code. They could never figure it out. So they still thought that she was involved somehow, but they couldn't prove it.
Yeah. Foxy the Pirate over on YouTube. How's it going? Thanks for popping in.
What's going on?
I think I know what you're talking about, actually. I just cut the shit out of my toe. There's a carpet nail sticking up in my carpet. And I just caught my toe on it, and oh, that fucking hurts so bad. Owie. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's kind of, that's what it is. And again, and she's dressed like she's from the 1940s. Pin-up girl style. All tatted out, though. No, very fancy nose ring, like the septum style nose ring. But it almost looks, it's got like jewels and shit in it, so it's like very fancy. Very well done. So that was cool. It was more expansion, a little bit more expansion there. It like justified the music in the scenes because she was playing them as records, and the music correlated with what she was talking about. So I thought that was really cool. And I'm just like, again, it's hard to even think that this movie is nearly 3 hours long. Because the flow of it, you never notice time.
That's nice.
And by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh shit, it's the end. And you're like, damn. Like, you're just like,
I was like, what?
I was just so enthralled. Like, it's just like, oh shit. And
the action scenes are right when they need to be to keep you intrigued, but it also has enough of storytelling to keep you invested.
And there's this guy, and he's been seen in the trailer. He's this humongous fat dude with asthma. But man,
I love that dude in the movie.
But man, can he kick ass?
Dude!
Like,
you know who he reminds me of?
Kingpin.
Thank you. That's what I thought when I saw him.
Yeah, he reminds me of Kingpin a lot because he's super agile and everything, but like he's a big fat dude. And like another great scene. It's hard to just imagine. Like, I want to sit in on the like, I would love to go back in time and sit in on the process of developing the universe after the first film, because it obviously was not developed in the first film. Like,
yeah, they had an idea, you could tell.
They had an idea, but like, yeah,
they didn't go beyond that. Or who knows? Maybe they did go on full George Lucas and develop the world, and then.
Well, no, like, so I saw the behind the scenes of the first film. Like, they did that whole big, there was that whole big thing on it, like, about his training and the way the film was developed right before it came out. Before the first one came out, there was a lot of stuff on it, and a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And they talked about it, like, they made sure when they developed the script that they had developed the world behind it, but it was, again, you can tell by the way they were discussing things, this was meant to be a one shot. They even mentioned that. It's like, this is a one-off film to show what we can do to hopefully get more work out of it. You know what I mean? And it was almost like a demo reel in a sense. And that has grown into, arguably, I'm going to say this, and this might be controversial, but I'm going to go with it. John Wick is the best action movie franchise ever. It's better than The Matrix. I think it's better than Aliens. It's better than even the Rocky movies, which the Rocky movies are in that same genre of character development with action involved.
Yeah.
But there have been movies that have not done well in that franchise. There have been movies that have, Aliens 3 and Alien Resurrection. There have been, you know, like, there's, when it comes to action franchises, John Wick stands above all of them.
I agree.
Because every film is great. Not just good, great. Like, I want to critique it in ways to make it, I don't want to sound like I'm just, you know, praising it up the ass here. Like, I'm trying to find ways to critique it. I just can't. I simply cannot. Like, I don't have any issues with it. Even the things that I quote-unquote had issues with, they're not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, they're just more nitpicks than
Yeah,
actual
exactly.
critiques.
again, I could have very easily, like the Trapper guy, like I said, you could have pulled him out and the film would have been relatively exactly the same. It just would have been, instead of him helping John in a certain moment, there would have been another way for John to get out of it. They would have just choreographed it a little bit differently. That's all. But still, like, it wasn't a bad inclusion either. And there is technically more that could be fleshed out. But like I said, I'm very happy that there's a definitive ending to the franchise. And this is it. Like, you obviously cannot continue on these movies without the guy whose name is the actual title of the fucking film.
Yeah.
Like, they're called John Wick. Like, you cannot continue this franchise without him. So I'm very happy we have a definitive ending to it. And
I have it under good authority that I will be signing up for whatever. What is it, Superbeard?
for what?
Just so I can fight like John Wick. We had this conversation.
Oh, Kung Fu. Kung Fu.
I will be signing up for Kung Fu. And then I want that guy from TikTok to train me on how to get shot. I'm sorry. That's at some scenes. I'm going to be honest, because I look for funny in everything. That's what makes me me. That's my uniqueness. And all I can think is he's running through that hallway. He's just like pow 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 pow. He's like flipping people over. I'm thinking, dude, the self defense guy on TikTok would have a field day with this shit.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
What is it?
Don't
Detroit
ever take lessons
something.
from him.
I don't know.
Don't
what
ever
that
take
is.
lessons from him. You'll end up dead.
Yeah,
I'll just go
in a
tell you all that.
heartbeat.
You'll end up dead.
But there's a. You know what else you feel? You know what else you feel in this film? And like I said, you don't even notice that the film is nearly 3 hours. Like, it just flows. You don't feel exhausted. You feel John Wick's exhaustion through all of this. And again, a credit to Keanu Reeves is forever undervalued as an actor. Like, there's no denying he's one of the greatest human beings on the planet. But people still look at him and think he's not a great actor. Watch these 4 films and tell me he's not a great actor. In a genre where emotion is not really all that important, you get so much out of this character.
Yeah.
But it's all subtle. Like, it's not like he's not sobbing. He's not over the top. He's not screaming and yelling all the time. Like, when the few times he raises his voice, you feel that shit. Like, you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
It's like that the line he gave in the first film, I believe, when he got captured by the Russian mob, and he's tied up, he's on his knees, and it's the first time that he's looks like he's beaten.
Yeah,
in a way. And he says, a lot of people has been asking me if I'm back, and he's like, yeah, now I'm thinking I'm back. I'm just like, whew, there is so much emotion in that line, and you just felt it because you know what he's just been through in the last 10 hours.
Yeah.
I would not want to live a day in John Wick's shoes.
Yeah.
No, not at all. So
wasn't Keanu Reeves in Freaked? He just went uncredited. Didn't he play the werewolf kid?
Did he? I don't know.
Because I can't.
I love that movie, by the way.
I remember. Yeah, it's a good movie. I just don't know if that's. It looks like it could be Keanu Reeves uncredited as the werewolf man, but I don't know. I might have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. Great Alex
I don't know
Winters
what made me
film.
think about that.
Bill and Ted, Alex Winters.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So as we wrap up this episode, all in all, like, as a franchise, like I said, it's as close to perfection as you can get in cinema. Every film just got increasingly better. But at the same time, like going back and watching the first John Wick film, it's still a great film and very enjoyable. It's not like, because like for me, like I love Terminator 2 so much that going back and watching the first one, it doesn't hold up as well.
Oh no, not
Like
by
the
a long
first Terminator
shot.
film doesn't hold up near as well. In this one, the first John Wick film holds up just as well as it always did.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, each film just gets
Yep.
better.
Definitely.
So
I think one reason is that even though T2 is set like in the, what was it, almost the late 90s, even though it came out in the mid,
yeah, it was set in the late 90s, but came out in the mid 90s.
yeah, it doesn't feel that dated.
No.
Even
The
today,
arcade-
the film doesn't
arcade's
feel
a
that
little-
dated.
The arcade's a little dated, but for the
Yeah,
most
yeah,
part, because
but they're
out in
making
the
a comeback.
Yeah,
Arcades are
that's
making
true,
a
too.
comeback.
But the fact that they're out in the middle of nowhere for most of the film, it doesn't feel
Yeah.
dated at all.
But the first one, it is just 80s everywhere. The
Yeah,
big
it's very
hair,
dated.
the nightclubs. I
Very,
would
very
probably
dated.
say the only thing that's really, really dated in T2 would probably be the mall that they went to. Not the
Yeah,
arcade,
probably.
just the mall in general.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to wrap it up. Ginger, do you have any final thoughts?
If you have not seen this movie, I have actually two final things I want to say.
Okay.
If you have not seen this movie, go see it.
I'm
And
working on it.
You've only said this once, but tell everyone about our sponsor. I got a knock on my door.
Okay. Yes, we do have a sponsor going on right now. It is Mech Arena Robot Showdown. It is a fun mobile and PC game, 5v5 mech battle royale. If you use !Mecha in the chat, you'll get a link. With that link, not only will you get the game, but you'll also get some very special bonus items. A legendary skin for your first mech, 70,000 credits, and 500 A coins. Those A coins are massively important. You use those to open up new mechs, upgrade and get better weapons, etc. Once you get to Area Division 9, which is their level 2, it'll help the channel out greatly. You just need 400 experience points to get there. But once you unlock that, you'll help us out a great deal. That is going till tomorrow. That will be ending right as we start Friday Night Fight Night, because we have a brand new sponsor that'll be starting right after that, which I can't talk about, but we're really excited about to get us through WrestleMania weekend and whatnot. Also, just so everybody's aware, tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern, I am going to begin playing Resident Evil 4 Remake, the brand new version
You're
of
gonna do that
Resident Evil
tonight?
4. I'm going to do that tonight starting at 11 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to take a little break, do a little bit more work on that video for that special someone. But I'm going to play that game tonight. And since it says it's about 12 hours of gameplay to beat the game, I'm probably going to end up playing it all the way through. Because if anybody knows me, I tend to do that. So I will probably play it straight through. Maybe hopefully get a couple hours of sleep before Super Card of Honor tomorrow. But tomorrow night is a big night. Because tomorrow night, right here, TGN Networks on YouTube, the Geeks and Noobs on Twitch, Geeks and Noobs on Kick, if it works, and
Yep.
the Facebook group, the Geeks and Noobs podcast, we will be doing a Super Card of Honor watch-along starting right at 7 when the show starts. We'll be doing a watch-along, and then after that, we will also have SmackDown on in the background, and we will be covering the Hall of Fame.
Vince,
Yes.
you know what I just realized?
What?
Today is my 1-year anniversary on the show.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Remember, Moon Knight premiered 1 year ago this year, or last year.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
Well, that's pretty damn cool.
Give him the round of applause button.
I gotta find it. Hold on.
He deserves the button.
Not that important, but I just like, wait a minute.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's important, dude. It's an
And-
anniversary.
And I'm wearing my Moon Knight cap that I got.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's gonna do it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on all the socials, all the stuff. If you're on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're feeling ever so generous, please subscribe. If you're on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up, like button. Please subscribe to the channel. That is free there. And also hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live. If you're on Facebook, please hit the thumbs up button, share it with your friends, and follow us there on the Facebook page, the Geeks and Noobs podcast. If you're on Kick, which this is not going to Kick because for some reason it didn't work, but we are building up over there as well. So go to kick.com/thegeeksandnoobs and follow us there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the show today. We thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, at 11 o'clock tonight, we will be going live with the Resident Evil 4 remake for Super Beard Plays Poorly. Let's find somebody to raid, though, before we go anywhere. Before anybody leaves, let's go find somebody to raid.
Yeah, yep.
Who's live right now? Let's find somebody in the movie world or something.
Yeah, all the people I follow are either wrestling or gaming.
Let's see. What's Lord Aethelson up to? All right, so we got a raid coming. Everybody, please give this person a follow. And go give them some love. They're playing some games over there. Give them some love. And we will see you guys next week. Bye!
Later.
Oh, my freaking thing isn't working again. Hold on. We're still here. We're still here. Don't go anywhere. We're going to raid, but don't go anywhere.
We're raiding. Raid.
All right, here we go.
Raid. Raid.